Ooh, welcome back to Sunday Slipperoonies, where the two winners at the end of the year will be sending the two losers where?
Mexico.
For what? That's not correct in the U.S.
New Mexico.
New Mexico. For what?
Eating scorpions.
What the fuck?
Not a bad one, right?
I've eaten scorpions before. They're kind of good if cooked
Why?
correctly. I was
Incorrectly cooked
I was in
scorpions.
Bangkok one night. It was
Just fucking give me scorpion.
bad. I mean, they just sell them on the road over there. It's pretty. They're good. They like burn them to a crisp to the point where you're like, okay, these are like super eatable. I'll have another one.
Cockfighting. You're fighting cocks out there in New Mexico.
Are you like fighting your cock against someone else's
Am I
cock?
using mine or?
No, just fighting a straight rooster.
All right. Well, let's hope that I don't have to be the person over there fighting my cock against another cock. For week 10, this is my slip. Have at me.
I mean, first of all, you abbreviated Cleveland wrong. Gold pick, though. You're not worried that Baltimore is the hottest team in the NFL right now and Deshaun Watson looks like garbage?
For sure, I'm worried. Everything about it. I just feel like Cleveland is they're a very well-rounded team. They can win in ways outside of Deshaun Watson, and because of that, I felt like 6.5 points was a little bit too much. They can shut down Baltimore's offense. I know that they're the hottest team in the NFL, but Cleveland's defense can also parlay that into a win by itself, despite how Deshaun Watson plays.
I don't know. I feel like Lamar Jackson does pretty well against Cleveland. I don't know. That one's sketchy.
I mean, listen, I'm not arguing that Baltimore is a good fucking team. This feels like if it was a 6.5 feels like a lot. I think it should have been more like 5.5, 4.5 in that range.
But I like Detroit.
Yeah, I like Detroit too.
I think they're simply just the better team.
Mm-hmm.
Chargers coming off, like, I guess you could say a dominating win against the Jets.
I think that could be sneaky high scoring.
I mean, yeah, definitely.
Sneaky.
Dominating, but not impressive to me is the way I would put it.
100%.
I just think that offense is not like sustainable for the rest of the year with just like Herbert, Tech, Keenan. You know, like having all their pass catchers, they're just due for a shit offensive performance.
Detroit coming off a bye, LA coming off a short week. I like it. I guess Houston. This is a weird game because it feels like neither team's going to have any receivers.
Yeah, it felt weird with Cincy, T. Higgins, and now Jamar Chase is apparently like a sure thing to be a game time decision on Sunday.
He's a sure thing to be uncertain what's happening.
Exactly. So I don't like
So
that.
sure that's so not.
We're not sure.
Shiesty can get it done, I guess, without them, but like 6.5 feels like a lot if that's the case.
Part of me, I don't know if we're at that point yet, but there's going to be a point in the season where Houston just becomes way overvalued. It might be after this game if they like keep it close, if they cover.
Mm-hmm.
But it does feel like betting on Houston right now is a buy high situation.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just kind of a game I guess I'm staying away from. But
Do you think Cowboys are the best offense and defense, but you're not stacking offenses?
This is like a lot of to do with
You took Dak.
So I used Dak already, though I wouldn't have used Dak if I had him still, because this is one of those games. I mean, they're playing the Giants. They're 17.5 point favorites, right? Like in games like that, it's pretty difficult to actually predict where the points are going to come from. They come in like bunches, but I could totally see multiple strip sacks on DeVito or whoever's. It's
DeVito, unfortunately.
DeVito playing. Like, I just don't see a world where their fantasy defense doesn't put up at least 15 points and give their offense incredible scoring opportunities. I thought about going Pollard for my fantasy RB1, but I feel better about Brees as a player against Vegas. I think he's going to get 25 touches in this game, whereas Pollard, I'm not actually sure that Pollard's good. Like at all.
I'm not sure he is either. I wouldn't be surprised if like rest of the season, because we started halfway with the Survivor, that I never used Tony Pollard.
This was the only one where I could see being like, okay, I should probably use him, but I could also see him putting up like 75 total yards and a touchdown. That's not going to be top 3 for fantasy.
No,
so I wanted to
it's
shoot
not.
for more upside there. The Cowboys, I don't know. I think that, again, I think because we don't do like, it's not anything fantasy related, their defense can push their offense to be the best offense as well. Like both of these things, I almost feel like they're correlated pretty heavily. Whereas like,
so.
If they get a pick six, not only does it hit my fantasy defense, but that counts for the offense too.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it like that. That's a good stack.
Yeah, I don't feel great about Goff, but again, I'm just trying to stack, and like he's one that I probably won't use ever again.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to use Goff against the Chargers. Like, it's going to be one of the higher scoring games of the slate, or at least it should be. Goff kind of just feeds one receiver for the most part, which is Amon-Ra. So I like the stack. Went with it myself, but
there weren't a ton of other like choices. I felt like because you have Lamar against Cleveland. I mean, you could have went Herbert, but Detroit's a pretty good D. Burrow without T. Higgins. Like, if you're going to use a top guy, you want him at full strength. San Fran and Jacksonville against each other is two good defenses. So I kind of felt like you were limited on actual elite options. I was thinking about Josh Allen versus Denver, but Denver's defense has kind of been like sneaky good over the last month.
Yeah, they've had a good defense. I was telling him earlier, the past 3 weeks they've played, they've had like solid games.
Yeah, and that's why, like, anytime I take a QB now, I kind of want to just stack him with the receiver.
Same.
And I didn't want to go Diggs versus Patrick Surtain in case he, like, turns it on. So I was like, I'll just stay away from that for now.
In case he becomes the corner he is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
And then lastly, like, I think that's a money under 45.5 of San Francisco Jacksonville. Yeah.
Tied for this year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
is.
a big total this year for sure. Also, teams coming off buys, at least like one team coming off a bye, the under is hitting at a really good percentage. So you got to imagine 2 teams coming off buys, like just shooting down under.
Green Bay at Pitt.
I think Pittsburgh is the right side to be on in this matchup because Green Bay is fucking terrible. But
Jair's not playing, so I like Pitt a lot.
both these teams suck. I just think Green Bay sucks more.
Yeah, they're
And
so
they're on the road.
uninspiring.
Yeah,
both
on
of
the
them.
road, I think it's going
And
to be.
as bad as Pittsburgh's been, they like find ways to cover in most games. So
10 days to prepare, too. It's
They're
like-
averaging like fucking, I think it's like 16.5 points per game, Pittsburgh. They're so bad on offense.
is Jordan Love like gonna lose his job this year?
I don't think he'll lose his job. But I
Not
think
not this year, but like they have a real decision to make this offseason for sure, how they want to progress.
I also think it's not entirely on him, though. I think a lot of it's the play calling.
The Will Levis pull, I'm not going to lie, he was one that crossed my mind here because the Tampa Bay pass D has been so bad.
Dude, you want to hear it? This is why I have the notepad.
All right,
You want to hear
hit us.
stats? So against like obviously the elite guys, they gave up a fuck ton of yards. Josh Allen over 300, Hurts 270s, Stroud the 470. Even Desmond Ritter had 250 yards.
I'm throwing even
Goff
before that. No need
Goff
for
had
that.
353. The lowest was Derek Carr. He had a bad week of 127. But everyone outside of Derek Carr that they played this year has had over 200 passing yards. Even Justin Fields, who doesn't do that on a normal basis. And a lot of like the more cannon arm quarterbacks have had over 300. So I think this is just a game where D-Hop can eat. They give up the most fantasy points to quarterbacks. Even before last
Stroud.
week, the Stroud, because I thought that was like an outlier game. I looked it up. They were number 3.
Yeah.
So it's not like it was that big of a jump to that.
No, they're getting
number
ripped
1.
every single week. It's bad.
So I just like D-Hop, who's getting all the targets. So I think both of them can have pretty big games.
I think it's spicy. I like it.
I mean, I think
also
it's
didn't
so
like-
fucking spicy.
I also didn't like a lot of like how you were saying. I just didn't want to use an elite guy this week because I didn't love really their matchups, and I think Golf will have better matchups down the road.
Yeah.
I was looking at Goff's matchups. I feel like outside of the Chargers, it's kind of tough because it's like, is Minnesota actually a good matchup? Like if Josh Dobbs kind of turns into a pumpkin, maybe that's not great, but I don't know. I think that's wild going with Will Levis.
I think I don't mind the Will Levis, but you went real like you got 4 out of your like 8 picks are Tennessee.
Yeah, no,
Tennessee,
I went
Levis,
full on
D-Hop,
Tennessee this-
offense, Tennessee.
I went for. I like stacked everything with Tennessee this week. Like, we were
Yeah, like
full on
you're
the
shot.
Titans.
Like you're going to New Mexico if Tennessee loses this game.
But if they win, I'm ahead of J-Mouse.
I guess to be fair, like if you're in his spot where you're down by a hefty amount of points, like
Yeah.
I don't think any of us nobody else did this.
That's fair.
So,
If
like,
this
this
hits,
is
you're
how
like
you-
right back in the game.
Yeah.
For sure. I like the Indy New England under for sure.
Dude, New England's had 15 days off. If their defense doesn't come back and do something with Bill Belichick, like,
Yeah, that's fair.
what are you doing? It's also overseas.
Overseas game.
All the overseas games. Under.
That's super fair. I kind of like forgot
under.
about that. That's an easy under.
I think we all at Brees Hall.
We all went Brees Hall. Me and you, Nick, have the exact same fantasy lineup.
Yes, we do.
I'm surprised neither of you guys are interested in Seattle.
I was really close to putting them as my bronze. I like Denver a little bit more, but I think Seattle's a lock. Like, I completely agree.
Yeah, I mean,
Are they in Washington?
dude, they
You
might
put
be.
it as
They might
first
be at
and
home.
then-
Hold on, they might be at home because I feel like
I feel like no, dude.
dude, I think they are. Seattle is at home.
Really?
Yeah,
Damn.
I remember. Yeah,
Maybe
I remember
like
seeing that.
didn't
now.
even see that game then. Fuck.
It was the only one. There's like a handful of games I feel good about in like the sides. It's the only one where I'm like, I can't leave this off the minerals. So I feel like it has to be my gold.
Fuck.
It feels a little trappy, to be honest. It feels a little chalky. Like,
That's what I was thinking. Is
I'm just hoping that people look at the Commanders beating the Patriots as like something like accomplishable. Because the week prior to that, they hung with Philly. But I kind of feel like it's just, division game. Then you sold pieces. You managed to beat New England, but New England's like maybe the worst team in the NFL. And also, I think people saw Seattle get embarrassed by Baltimore.
Yeah.
Which maybe in their minds, they're like, okay, maybe we need to take some steam off Seattle. They're not that good. I think Seattle is still good. My opinion didn't really change, even though they got the brakes beaten off of them.
Yeah, because, I mean, they also did the same thing to fucking Detroit.
They did the same
I
thing to
think
Detroit.
Detroit's a bad team at all.
Yeah.
Baltimore is just him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that pick. I probably would swap if that was allowed. Denver +7.
I like it.
I mean, yeah, you had it on yours. I just think this Buffalo team's not actually that good. I like Josh Allen. Their offense seems kind of weird. Their defense is like just hurt on all levels. Like, I don't think this is a good team right now. Denver, I feel like what you were saying, like their defense is playing better. The beginning half of games, like their offense kind of clicks. I'm not really buying into them too much, but it just kind of feels like this is too many points. The most sickening thing on here is I'm now back in New Orleans.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
This is just fucking terrible.
I feel like if Carr implodes and you miss this because of him, you're gonna
you'll go to his house.
You know
I'm gonna
why?
have to check in on you.
You know why I love New Orleans this week? Taysom Hill is fucking amazing. Taysom Hill is their best quarterback, and they're finally using him in the red zone, and they can convert.
But that's been the case for like a month.
Not really.
Yeah, super really.
No,
Past
not
3
even.
weeks. Yeah.
Taysom Hill's been like the fucking number one.
Okay, maybe like last,
straight.
but now
18,
it's like a staple of their offense. Like they're not using Taysom Hill as like a gimmick anymore. Like they're legitimately just being like, Derek Carr, you're not our red zone quarterback. Get Taysom Hill in there, which I think has actually made their offense like sustainable.
Yeah, Taysom's kind of fucking good.
I like the Saints now that they're going to admit that Derek Carr is like maybe their third best quarterback on the team.
I don't think they've said anything to that point as it relates to James Winston.
James Winston, he can't be worse. I will say, like, it seems like Joshua Dobbs, like, it's impressive as fuck that he was able to pull off a win against the Falcons with like no preparation and not knowing anybody on his team.
It's actually, what's kind of even like crazier on top of that is how quickly he was traded to Arizona too right before the start of the season. That gets like swept under the rug.
Yeah.
You remember when that happened? Everyone's like, wow, they're super tanking because they don't want Colt McCoy to start the year instead of Josh Dobbs. No one knew who Josh Dobbs really was at the time. That happened like fucking 3 days before NFL kickoff too. I saw someone tweet something this week, and they were like, I don't know what award Josh Dobbs wins, but he deserves an award this year.
Yeah.
He does. I don't know if it's a comeback player of the year award.
Most improved.
There needs to be something.
They're just going to make the Josh Dobbs award.
Facts.
And there's not going to be any guideline. It's just a vibe thing. It's just
Very
like,
vibe.
you were the
Vibes,
Josh
so
Dobbs this year.
Like you did some cool ass shit.
Like retroactively, Geno Smith probably should have won it, you know?
Facts.
It kind of worries me, like Josh Dobbs might just be like a legitimate player, but it's also like, is he though?
He's one of those players that like every time he has a bad game, people are gonna be like, there goes Josh Dobbs, and then he'll have a good game a week later, 2 weeks later. It's tough to understand like what you're really gonna get, but I mean, he's in a really good position. I feel like in Minnesota right now.
Really it's hard
calling.
to read Dobbs, but I'm feeling good about the Saints.
Yeah, that's fair.
Jameis Stain.
J-Mo.
Ooh. Wow. Fading his boy Herbert with the gold pick.
So we've got
Never thought you'd see that.
me and J-Mo have the same gold silver, just swapped. We have the same QB wide receiver stack.
He believes
All three of us have the same QB wide receiver stack.
Okay. He's got offense Bills. I kind of like the defensive Jets, though. They're playing against the Raiders, Aiden O'Connell. It could just be like a 35-point game.
That's fair.
I could see a sneaky good performance
But like,
there.
I guess my issue is Cowboys feel like a lock to finish top 3.
This felt like, those 2 boxes were the easiest boxes I filled out on this thing. Which is
Offense and defense?
boys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Double boys.
I mean,
Whole lot
offense,
of-
I feel like there's
so
a bunch of
many
ways you
boys.
can go with
whole
it.
lot of
Love
cocks.
boys.
A whole lot of cockfighting going on this week. Tony P.
Jacksonville +3.
I think that's the right side. To be honest, I thought actually more people would be on it. I think if I didn't have like so much emotional attachment to the 49ers, I would be all over Jacksonville +3. I don't want to hedge my feelings, and there's not an ounce of me that wants that to happen.
Yeah, I need to move Atlanta off my slip. Or not. I think I did.
You did.
I did move them right before off my slip.
You legitimately were going to go Atlanta.
It was like 5 minutes before, and then we started talking about it. I was like, I got to get them off my slip.
I got to stop doing that.
Yeah, because it's just like there's just too many moving parts and variables in one fucking game that I can't do. Washington versus Seattle over 44.5.
I don't hate it.
Me either.
I could see it being like a 17-20 game.
I mean, Washington's defense is bad though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is the week we're going to be like, oh, yeah, they sold Sweat and Chase.
Yeah, like Washington defense is bad, and they also can like score points.
And I think Geno against certain matchups where you don't expect him to get a lot of pressure is like going to dice.
Dude,
dice you up.
I consider Geno too as my QB1. He's
It would
been
be-
so far off this year, so it felt like way too much. But
It would have felt like a lot. I guess like this is probably a matchup you want to use Geno.
mm-hmm.
I mean,
I have so many things I want to swap on my slip.
Gut feeling. Go with it.
yeah.
Dial it in.
But you don't.
Lock it in.
All right, there you have it. Those are our Sunday slips. We'll check back in next week. You'll see the scores updated before, after, upside down, past, present, future. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel to see these every week. We also put out videos pretty much every day, more trivia-related stuff. We'll see y'all probably tomorrow.
Peace.
Girl.